this is my review on a guitar which I think a lot of you are going to be interested in. Here it is. It's the Harley Benton fan fret 8-string guitar from Thomann.de, a German music retailer. If you can't tell, I'm from England, so this guitar is an easier option for me than getting an Agile from the United States. I'm pretty certain it's probably from the same factory. I'm looking at the design of the body. It does look a lot like some Agile guitars, like the Pendulum 8-string I've seen. The headstock looks a lot similar. But anyway, it cost me about £350. I don't have loads and loads and loads of money to spend on guitars, so I know it was a gamble because I maybe should have saved up for a better one. But to be perfectly honest, I am pretty well chuffed with it. So I've got an Ibanez RG8, which is around about the same kind of money I would have, I spent on this. So that's my frame of reference, and really and truly I just wanted to try out fan frets. I think it looks, a bit mesmerising in a way, and the idea behind it seems really good. Fan fret then on the highest string is 25.5 inch, which I believe is the same as a Strat, and the highest is 27, which is the same as my Ibanez RG8. Initial thoughts of it from playing it: the fan fret is so easy to adapt to, you don't even realise. I think it kind of ergonomically matches your hand a little better. And I've noticed the shorter scale length on the higher strings has been a lot better for bends and just general playability. When I've been playing my RG8 and it's 27 all the way along, the higher strings haven't been able to be as expressive with, because you're there like, move, goddamn you! Whereas this one doesn't really have that problem. The actual full name of this guitar, as I read it off the Thomann website, is the Harley Benton Fan Fret 8NT QEB DLX. Try saying that when you're drunk. It's a basswood body with a quilted maple top. I really like it. I think it looks a bit like a watermelon, but that's by the by. Rosewood fretboard. It's got a 5-piece maple and NATO through body, neck, what have you. Machine heads are Grover. It says Grover, and on each of them it says 18-1. I don't know if that's a serial or maybe the ratio. 2 humbuckers, volume, tone, 3-way toggle. The bridges are single to each string. One of the reasons it's taken me a little while to make this video is my tuning I like for my 8 strings is C sharp standard on the first 6. He says playing only 5. And then on the 7th I like a lower G sharp, and then the 8th I like a low C sharp, an octave below the 6th. On some of the MIDI programs I've been using, I've found out that's a C sharp 0. I don't know how well the camera's going to pick that up because it's not amped up, but it's really low. I assume you're going to have some split opinions on that, but that's how I particularly like my guitars. What I've ended up doing with this, which is my fault, and there's a reason why it's taken like 3 weeks for the video, is I've modified it to take a 115 bass string. I put a bass ferrule in the back, and I've also taken a file to the inside of the 8th machine head so it can take a bigger string. I think that's one thing, maybe a comment on this to start off with, is if I had, say, like an Ibanez fan fret when they're about 700, 800 pounds, I would not have dared doing any of that. And I just don't think I would have enjoyed it as much, because I would have been going, oh, I can't change these bits, and having thinner strings on which won't be able to handle the tension as well. I just think after a while I probably end up resenting the purchase, and because of the money I've spent on this, I've felt more than happy to tinker with it, which I believe is something you should do with all your guitars really, because you get to know it better, and it just feels more like yours. It's not just one off the shelf. So what happened in the process is, as I said, these bridges are individual. The little bit of the bridge that pokes up, which you put the screw through, sorry I'm not too technical on this, you put the screw through and then it grabs into the bit that moves forward and backwards on there. When I was intonating the 115 for a low C sharp, I was tightening it, and then what happened is the actual bit that pokes up which the screw goes through, was under so much tension it snapped. Upon looking at it after it snapped, it looked like it was made out of an aluminium alloy. Luckily, I've got a friend who's a machinist, and he's made me a completely new top single bridge out of steel, and the actual pokey up bit of the bridge is a mil thicker, and it's standing up to the tension a hell of a lot more. So kind of leading on from this, it is a bit of a rough diamond, I must admit. There's some rubs on the paintwork around the horns and the cavities for the pots. There's a few marks on the neck, and the fretboard's a little marked down here, but overall it's the neck, the fretboard is nice and it's all there, so there's enough for you to be able to use all the notes properly. I have noticed one of my frets, he says looking for his pick. Oh, sod it. One of the frets on the high string is a bit of a bum fret. It's my 13th so the 12th is like that, and the 13th is, which raising the action a bit has helped that, but at some point in the future I will get that sorted. So quality wise is what I would expect for a guitar of that money. I know the quality control's a little hit and miss on them because they buy them in such bulk. I spoke to Toman about it because if I pronounce the name wrong, I'm sorry, but I've been speaking to someone over a 7 to 8 string guitar group on Facebook called Wower. He's got the same guitar as well. One day put it up going, look at this, it's great, showed me all the pictures. That made me realise the guitar was out, and I was like, oh Christ, I need to get one. And then the day after was like, just to be honest with you guys, there are some flaws of it, and he took some close-ups of the fretboard, and he had the same kind of marks on the horns and whatnot. So I spoke to Toman, just basically trying to see if they could guarantee I'd be getting a good one, and what they said is they get them in such a high volume that they only spot check every, well, I don't even know how many, but not every single one gets quality checked. So it might be a little hit and miss, but it's definitely worth it if you want to give fan frets a try. You're not overly fussed about getting the absolute best quality guitar out there, and you enjoy modifying guitars because it's a slightly lower price and you'll probably be a lot happier to do it. The guitar then is a bit of a rough diamond, but it's got a hell of a lot of character, and it's still a diamond nonetheless. For £330 I am chuffed to bits with it. One of the biggest things I like out of it is it's a through body. Again, the carve isn't the absolute best in the world, but it's still nice. When I first looked at it and got it out of the packaging, I was pretty gobsmacked. I'm probably going to now make this my main guitar and put the RG8 as my backup. I'll probably end up getting different pickups in them. The RG8 has a deactivator bridge and an ionizer neck, so I'm thinking of getting some lace def bars for this. So watch this space, whether I do or not. It might end up with something completely different. But I could ramble on as I clearly am. Hopefully the editing will make it look like I haven't been as much about this guitar, and what I like and what I didn't like as much. But one of the most important things you're going to want to know is how it sounds. So without further ado, I'm going to cut now to a little song I've just put together to show it off. Thanks for watching.